Hi everyone, my name is Rene and here I am once again. It's another week, another interesting Sunday and another interesting lesson today. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. If this is your first time, don't forget that we have a set of probably 50 other lessons that you can take advantage of, and make sure that you check them out. There is always something interesting to learn, something interesting to remember, something interesting to practice. Thank you so very much also for supporting this channel, supporting all the activities that we are preparing for you online. That is so very important for us artists in this period of crisis that we are. Thanks God, we are moving on and things are moving in a positive way. However, take it easy, still be careful, still be, try to be safe, try to be healthy, okay? That's the reason why we keep working virtually, especially for those that are taking care of themselves and you decided to stay home. This is for you. So today we're going to do a very interesting step, which is going to allow us to move around the dance floor in making molinetes, a very different sort of molinete. We're going to be practicing with the music in the background by Francisco Canaro. His waltzes were very, very a little bit classical, so they sound very they have a little bit of pause to it. It's not so alive like 20 years later. Probably D'Arienzo and Biaggi would change the history of tango. So take it easy. The music is very simple. The music is very in a way, I don't want to say slow, but it's quieter. It doesn't have a lot of embellishments to it. So provided that we understand the music, waltz for now, we can dance waltz very quickly, but we have to have the skills in order to dance waltz that quickly. I'm talking about the speed because everybody wants to do. It looks so very simple what somebody is doing because they're doing it correctly that you think immediately, oh, I can do this. There's a few things that we need to understand in order to make things happen happily and quickly. So for that same reason, I want you to pay attention to all this, you know, the pace that I want you to go with is bum, 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 bum. I know that many of you dance in a different pace. I know that some of you probably are respecting the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 of waltz. In this lesson today, I want you to focus only in one beat. Bam, 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 bam. And for now, keep concentrated only and just in that pace of beats. Okay? Slowly you're going to be able to go a little bit faster. So the first thing, and this is as usual, I'm going to start by telling the leaders what to do. I want you to make sure that you understand how your body needs to move, okay? So I'm going to do it in front of the camera a little bit on a diagonal line so you can see how my core is working. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a side step and I'm going to lift my dance partner. You already know this. We have been doing this for many months in order to lift her left foot off the ground. With this, I'm going to prepare to do a forward step in the cross system. That means that she's going to take a back step with her left leg, and I'm going to be walking also with my left leg. After this step, I need to move my body very quickly. So what I'm doing is I'm stepping, look at my foot, and immediately after that, I'm switching my weight to the ball of my foot, and I'm pivoting, and then I'm taking a side step. So if I don't pivot, it looks a little bit like I'm falling to the floor with all my body. And that, of course, happens because my axis is forced to move forward. So I want you to be able to practice again this and we're going to do a repetition. We're going to do 3 repetitions. I want you to look how I'm going to do this. I'm moving all the time in that direction. So I walk, forget about the lead. We're going to just do our movement. I walk, side step. After this side step, I need to keep moving that way. So I'm going to do another pivot. And then see, I pivoted and I'm completely on the other side. Forward step, side, pivot, and I move again forward with the left. I'm going to use very small steps, and now I'm going to try to connect with the music, thinking only in bam, 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 bam. You have seen that in the last step I did something very interesting with my feet. Now we're going to practice that. See? I walk forward, side. I'm going to pivot on this foot, and I'm going to keep my feet a little bit crossed. And I do it again. See? If I count the steps, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, let me tell you about the difference of what I'm doing with my feet and what is coming from my core. I walk 1 forward step. I'm leading with my chest. I'm pushing with my chest. First step. The second one, I'm moving my core. I'm not moving my feet. If you move your feet, you're going to move everything at the same time. So try to imagine that you have to throw your hip to the side. And right after that happens, you really need to move your core. And the only way I'm doing that is when I have this feeling that I'm pulling with the muscles in my back. It's a little bit like I'm hitting somebody with my elbow, but I'm not using my arm. I only have that feeling. And if you achieve that feeling, it's a lot easier to move. That feeling also makes my leg feel late. I am already going here, and see, look at my foot. My foot is taking some time to go. Don't try to connect the movement of your shoulders with the movement of your foot, because if you do so, it will look like this. It has to, all the movements have to feel like they are completely disassociated. So, once again, a beautiful waltz. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. I do it on the other side. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. You have noticed there a loss of balance. We're spinning. For now, I'm making you go in a straight line. That is going to get a little bit better because instead of going in a straight line, we're going to be going around. But for all those that think that spinning is a problem, that, oh no, I have vertigo, it gets better if you practice. Okay? So it's something that you need to practice to be able to spin. Now, when you're spinning, try to keep your eyes locked in to where you're going, in the direction that you're going. That is going to help you a little bit in this exercise that we're doing all by ourselves. I don't need a partner to practice this. I'm just going. And again, I'm going to do it even slower than the music, even slower than I ask you to do, just to understand what I have to do. I step. My feet are constantly, I step forward, I'm pivoting, and then I keep pivoting. Okay? At some point, you're going to be able to do this in a more musical way. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? Now, first, you really need to practice what you're going to do. It's very complicated if you just jump to practice this with your dance partner. So it requires a little bit to know how it works. So when you already have done that, you're going to understand a little bit better the lead and the following part. I'm going to go, in this case, in that direction, in the direction of dance. So see how I'm going to put together all these little things that I spoke at the very beginning of the lesson. So I'm going to take a side step. I lift her body. Here I'm not stop. I go forward step. While I'm leading with my chest forward, I'm pushing, I go side step. Now the next part is the part that is a little bit tricky. I'm going to pivot. Look how I'm hiding my foot here so her leg can also come. But I'm going to hold it here. I'm not going to lead her immediately. I'm lifting her up and then I lead her and I don't do anything. And only after that forward step happens, I'm going to lead her to the side and lift her body again. And I keep going. Forward, side. If you don't know how to do that crossing, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, I just want you to hold it. And you're going to hold her foot too, pivoting her and holding. Then you're going to lead her forward step. I'm leading a forward step and the side step just with my chest. I'm doing this. Bum, bum. Let's try to do that again so you can see what I'm talking about. My line is going to go a little bit on that diagonal line. Side step. I walk with her, pivot. I walk with her, and here I pivot and I wait. With my torso, I'm leading her into a forward ocho, and then with my torso again, another forward ocho. I'm sorry, a side step. And from here, I keep pushing forward. And I come back to the original part of the exercise. Forward, pivot, side. Pivot again, I hold my feet. I can put my feet together, but I am still leading her into a forward step. Side, and I keep going. Let's do it from this perspective so you can see. My direction is over there. Side step. Forward. I do a side step. She keeps going backwards. I keep my feet together. She walks forward. I'm leading her to walk forward. I move my chest. And I keep going in that direction. My direction is always there. Forward, side, I collect. Okay? Once again, this is a very, very sophisticated movement that we actually have borrowed from Viennese waltz. Okay, we're trying to make it happen in tango. When we move in tango so many times, we do a lot, our spins are a lot faster than in waltz. So in Viennese waltz. So it's for that same reason, in order to achieve that speed, I want you to try to go very slow. I want you to understand what you're doing. Eventually, this line that we're making, like I always say, every line, you can turn every line into an angle and into a circle. You can do that line. I can do the same exercise as in a zigzag, but we don't want to move that quickly to the other side of the room. We would like to spin a few times with this movement. But again, in order to achieve that, we have to practice how we're doing with our foot steps. When we were practicing just our part and how my feet were moving, I asked you, gentlemen, to do forward, side, and because it's easier when I'm learning, I was asking you to pivot and leave this foot forward. When you dance with your dance partner, it's very hard to leave that foot forward. You really need a little bit of, actually a lot of factors have to work in order for you to have that. Because you're learning and you need to understand the use of your core, I'm going to ask you to do that little bit of an embellishment, but behind you. Look the way I'm going to do it again. Side step, I lift, forward step, side step. Now this foot is going to move behind this other foot, but only after the pivot. When I do that, I'm using my core. And let me clarify, when I say using my core, the energy, the first part that I'm moving is my tummy. All the muscles that I have in the center of my body. I don't want you to use your shoulders. I don't want you to use your feet, which is the part that we mostly use. If somebody calls me, I say, what? I'm using like all my body to go. It's like now somebody's calling you and you're only answering with your head. Rene, what? Okay? I'm not wasting my energy in going with all my body. So after that, see, bam, move your core and then move your feet. So the movement has this association. You're breaking the association between your shoulders, your hips, and your feet. It's a little bit like the rubric cube. First you move the top part, then the middle and then the lower side. So, provided that I remember that, once again, slow motion, bam, 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 bam. Okay? Now, we're going to remember, in order to organize these movements, because right now I'm doing pam pam, I want you to think the music and the steps like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What do I mean by that counting? Here, you as a leader, you're going to count your steps. 1, 2, and then you count the steps of your dance partner. 1, 2, and then you know you have to walk. 1, 2. Let's do that again. So I go side, and from here I count 1, 2. I'm not going to count the step that I'm doing behind me, but then I'm counting what the lady is doing. 1, 2. And then I go back counting my steps. 1, 2. 1, 2. And mine. 1, 2. If that doesn't work for you because you keep forgetting the step that we're doing behind, you can remember 3 steps me as a leader, 2 steps my dance partner. Side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay? And the reason why so many times that whenever you have heard me say about the counting, I don't like to count. Numbers are very forgettable. Numbers are sometimes, I don't know, at least it doesn't work for me. I'm doing this sequence so you can understand a little bit. You can have a formula of sets of steps. Eventually, that is going to become a more natural feeling that you don't have to count. Okay? The lead. I'm always asking you to use your chest. So I'm going to use the pillow and in front of my sticks. That is a perfect waltz for these steps. So even when I'm doing I'm preparing, I want you to feel how you're moving your chest. See, in order to lift this side, I have to lift my chest a little bit. I keep that chest high up while I'm preparing my next step, and everything moves up here first. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to just see. I'm switching my direction. This is how I would like you to always practice because that is going to eventually help you with your musicality. 1, 2. I go 1, 2, back. 1, 2, 1. I finish doing that and I come back. Every time try to work more and more in feeling the movement rather than looking at your feet. So now I'm going to explain what I'm doing. I'm going to do just one set, so it's very, very large, and you can see what's happening. Side step. Here I go, I hold upwards, and then I go. I have to do 2 steps with a lot of energy. 1, 2. After this step, and when I am traveling towards the back step, I keep moving my torso. And then I lead her around me. See how I'm moving the pillow from that direction towards that direction. It's a big, big movement. Okay? Now, there is a combination of this association here. Sometimes I'm leading from my upper body, and sometimes I'm leading from my lower body. And when I say leading, I'm leading my movement. My movement is starting on my feet sometimes. My movements are starting from my from the top sometimes. I'm going to make sense of what I just said. When I'm going here, the movements are coming from my upper body. Boom, boom. Now I move my core. The energy is coming from my core, but then I have to move my foot first in order to make a space in this area so she can use that step. I mean that space for her step. I hope you understand what I just meant. I'm trying to say that the ladies, I walk and see, I move my core and then I throw my leg behind. I am still facing her, but my leg anticipated the movement in order to create a space for her here. And then I keep going. Eventually, you're going to have to do that a lot more spin in your core, in your whole body, because we're going to just try to use a very small space. Okay, so if you don't practice how to use your core, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to lead correctly this movement. Don't worry, we're going to be practicing this for a little while. So the important thing is that you understand these little details, that all the sequence, because already it's a sequence. This is not just a set of steps, it's a whole sequence. And you know, you have realized that probably it has 3 or 4 steps, but they require a lot of understanding of your and awareness of your body, of where your muscles are, what part you're moving. I just can't move this like this, because then I'm going to be throwing my dance partner, you know, like she's not going to be able to work on her balance. And talking about that, you know, every time that I am teaching you something, I'm always asking to be aware of where she's going. So in this case, just this last part because I forgot to mention before. I'm always thinking where her axis is. I need to imagine that her axis is traveling in between her legs all the time, and that I am keeping that axis straight. Let's do that again. I'm going to do just one set. See, here her axis is in between her feet. So I'm going to take care of that axis, and then it's just in one line, which is the right foot. And then I walk with her. Here, her axis is in between her feet. In between her feet. Then I move. I kind of leave her axis alone. I move and then I move her. Her axis is in between. I move her quickly, so she moves her body in front of me. Her axis is in between. I'm moving her axis on the other side and I start again. Okay? If you don't have that control over her axis, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to make her feel comfortable whenever you're dancing with an actual partner. And the idea is that when they look at you and you invite somebody to dance, they smile and they say, yes, let's practice this. Not like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This guy's like throwing me away. Throwing me all around the room. Do it in a way that you're feeling where she's going. You have to take care of where she's stepping, the direction. There's a lot of factors. So first, practice this at home, and then you're going to see how easy it is to do it with a dance partner. Okay? Now let's see what the ladies have to do. As I am always asking you to do in this exercise, you require a lot of patience. Patience, not so much for because the leader requires more time to understand. I want you to have patience with yourselves, because the way that you're moving your body is completely counter-intuitive. You're not going in the direction that we usually walk. Nobody teaches a baby to walk backwards, and that's what you have to do most of the time. So your form might not be correct at first, but you can do this, and all you need to do is practice. And that's exactly what we're doing during these lessons. I want you to more than learn perfectly what you're doing. I want you to be aware of your form, the way that you're moving your body, the way that the outcome of every step, how you're controlling not just the aesthetical part. The aesthetical part actually is a consequence of what you're doing. When you control everything, your axis, the muscle that is in charge of moving that leg, the aesthetical part comes along naturally, because whatever is elongated has to do with the aesthetics. Long lines when you're dancing, that means aesthetical. And so you don't imagine that you have just to look. When I say form, it's like, oh my God, I have to use a little bit of makeup there. The makeup is actually feeling the muscles that I'm asking you to use and feel the elongation. A lot of people ask me, Renee, but it isn't the same making long steps, it's elongation. It's not. There's a difference. In order to walk, in an elongated way, I'm going to walk backwards. I'm going to use the lower muscles in my back and my glutes. When I elongate, look the size of my step. It's almost behind me, but my leg cannot go any further unless I am bending the other leg. But what the exercise is feeling your elongation. So this leg is elongated, my core is elongated, and I'm going to elongate my leg behind. I know that this looks like a little bit like ballet, we're not dancing ballet, but that is an elongation. What I'm trying to do is to explain to you an elongation. And when you walk backwards, the idea is that you're feeling that elongation, not that you're doing this. I'm still not looking good there because I'm not respecting that elongation. Now, in order to control that elongation that I'm doing, and the reason why it looks very nice and elegant is because I'm keeping all the elongation in the rest of my body. My muscles are stretching. My core is trying to go upwards. Everything is pulling me up. And then my leg wants to go back. I'm using my quadriceps, I'm using my glutes, I'm using my adductors and my abductors on my right leg, so to keep that line. And also I'm using my ankle, the muscles in my ankle, to create that wonderful line behind me. So I'm starting by asking you to be patient finding those spots. The other day I was with a couple of students and they were like, they realized this difference, like, oh my God, it's so simple. Why didn't I think it about before? But it's a little bit hard, once again, because we never walk backwards. We never learn to walk backwards. And you know, at this point, at this stage in our life, somebody is telling us, you have to walk this way backwards, not like this, because that doesn't look very good. If this is your first time trying to do this and understanding this, you're more than welcome to put a chair in front of you and try to practice just elongating your legs behind you. You can also try to practice elongating, and then if you cannot find the muscles that I'm talking about, try to lift that leg behind and hold it. And then you're going to feel, oh, my quadriceps, oh, my lower back, oh, my glutes. Okay? When you are familiar with that elongation, I want you to try to start practicing what we did in this exercise. I'm going to use this line. I'm going to start from this point and I'm going to finish here. My steps, again, are going to be very, very small. I'm going to do only 2 sets. I asked the gentleman to do 3 sets, but in this case, we're going to just do 2. Because I want you to work in the form, not so much in the repetition. So, side step, you know how to do it. At this point, I'm going to take care, even in the way that I'm lifting my body, I'm going to do it actually in front of the camera, that little part. Side step. See, in the side step, I'm switching my weight. My knee is not bent completely, it's soft, but then I'm pulling my center upwards so to collect my feet. I cannot arrive like this because here I am already losing my balance. So don't rush your collection. And also read what the leader is doing. When the leader takes you to a side step, he's not stopping moving, he's going up, 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 up. So my leg is kind of like being dragged by him, not because I decide. Let's imagine that the leader is going to do that whole process. And you go like this, you're going to end up with your knees completely bent. And that is a position that I don't like. That to me this doesn't look like tango. I know that some teachers have taught you to do forward ocho like this, but that is not correct. Imagine if you would be doing that in the dance and you're dancing with a leader that is trying to keep his axis completely upwards. You're going to be pulling him, ooh, ooh, in every pivot, ooh. And in the same way that I ask the leaders to do, I want you to feel the other person. Don't forget, tango is about communication. We're having fun. We're having a conversation without using our voice. And when you start doing things like that, you stop, you break that communication. Okay? So let's go back to our exercise. And again, feel side step. I feel how the leader is lifting me and I go like I'm about to fly. When I feel the push in my chest, that's when I activate my muscles in the back, my glutes, and I elongate that leg. Now, that foot needs to stay on the ground. Not because I'm asking you to elongate, I am asking you to lift your leg like this. So you're kind of like, that's enough. If the leader starts pushing you, then you go. And that is going to give you the size of the step. The leader is planning also that. You cannot decide. So, feel the chest pushing you. Boom, boom. First, the leader is going to make 2 steps. Then he's going to move. Sort of like a sneaky way. So I don't want you to try to go with your feet like immediately. To see like he's moving, you have to go. Give it a time. He's disassociating. Allow your body to disassociate as well. We are moving in that direction, but turning around. So our torso has to move for a couple of times towards that direction. So once again, 1, 2, I go with that lead. While I'm doing that, look what I can do with my feet. And then the leader invites me to move. And I'm already, again, facing that direction. And we do it again. 1, 2. The leader starts moving, but he's not moving my feet. 1, 2. You're going to realize that those 1, 2 are not that elongated. They are not big steps. You don't want to do the long steps, but still you have to elongate your body. So I'm going to do it a little bit more. I'm going to do like this. Bam, 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 bam. The important thing is that you arrive on the beat right now, not to dance every beat. Bam, 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 bam. If you think about it, because my arm was upwards, it's a little bit like ballet. Jan, 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 jan. That is called a pirouette, and you have to jump in ballet. But for now, I want you to, this pirouette is very nice and easy, and it's going in just one straight line. Let's try again. Now, I want you to feel the elongation here. 1, 2. I remain up high. I move, look, I'm moving first my upper body because the leader is going that way, but he's not moving my feet yet. And then he moves my foot. Here he's going to send me around him. And then everything happens one more time. I'm going to feel upwards. When you feel that, I know that we're practicing your part, but don't learn everything by heart. Try to feel. That's the reason why I don't want you to do every beat. Bam, 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 bam. Let's do it on the other side. In that same motion. Side step, I lift myself up. 1, 2. I allow the music take me there. And I have to do 1, 2. 1, 2. The leader moves. I wait until I cannot hold it anymore and then pivot. Here I go forward and the next one is around the leader. And then so forth. Little things. The first 2 steps are completely easy. You're not going anywhere after that. Sorry, it's backwards. In the first 2 steps, you're not going anywhere. 1, 2. Okay? So when you're doing those 2 steps, I just, because you're practicing, I want you to practice elongating your muscles. So I'm going to exaggerate and I'm going to use a lot my ankles. Here I'm going to make a pause. When you make a pause, remember that it's not just to put your foot here. This doesn't look very nice. I'm going to try to place my leg, lifting my hip. My thigh is in a diagonal line, so my feet are parallel to each other. If your feet are like this, or there is a space in between your legs, the exercise is not very nice. So I'm going to take care of that as well. I'm not going to step on that foot, and when the pivot comes, I'm going to welcome that pivot. And then from here, I'm going to go around the leader. This is like a little bit, a tiny molinete. And then we start again. So, see, it feels like so very easy to walk backwards, but there's a lot of energy that you're adding to your steps if you use your muscles in your back. All these muscles that I'm asking you to use. Not only the muscles in your back, the muscles in your legs, in hamstrings, abductors, quadriceps, calves, ankles. Everything makes me feel like I am completely grounded, that I am doing my job. So I don't want you to think that just because it's coming okay in your head, because probably you have a mirror and you're looking good. You have to feel more than what you're looking. And also ask an opinion. Don't base everything in your own opinion. Ask somebody to tell you, how do I look with this walking backwards? That's going to tell you, that feedback is going to be a lot important. Now, I'm going to use the sticks because it's confusing what the legs of the leader are doing and how the counting that I ask the leaders how to do, it's not very useful in your case. That's the reason I don't want you to count. I just want you to remember what you have to do. We're going that direction. This is the right leg of the leader. This is the left. So the first thing that the leader is going to do is to take you to a side step. And here we go. He's going to lift When you're lifted here, see, I'm not just, if I do this, I look like that. So I'm going to raise my body to collect the other leg. So the cross system, the leader is using his left leg to walk forward. I'm using my left as well. He's not going to stop leading here. He's going to do it very clearly, 2 steps. 1, 2. Here you're going to feel that something is going on, that he's moving kind of like without telling you what he's doing. And then his torso is going to move that way. While this is happening, you can hold this foot like we were practicing. I'm going to hold it here, and then when I feel that he's moving, he's leading me with his torso to keep going in that direction, I'm going to go. But see, I hold it, and look at my feet. His movement is going to make me pivot. So my step is going to happen in front of me. I don't want you to anticipate this and try to go. I'm going to move a little bit here. If you go without pivoting, this position is not very nice. So I'm going to wait. All I have to do is so very simple. Wait and pivot a little bit, and then I can walk very elegantly. This is going around him. 1, 2. And he starts doing everything again. He lifts me up. 1, 2. He moves his leg. I can do that crossing. He moves me a little bit. He invites me to go. 1, 2. And he is ready to go again. So you don't need to learn what the leaders are doing, but I want you to feel what is happening. Let's try to do in the same way that I asked the leaders to do. So you can see how the pillow is going first. Side step. 2 steps, nothing is new here other than the elongation. 1, 2. The leader moves his leg. See, he's not moving the pillow yet. I wait for him. He moves his torso and I'm going with him. And then I have to move around him because he's moving the pillow. And he starts again. 1, 1, 2. He doesn't move anything but his leg. Then I move because he's moving the pillow, and I keep going. In my head, when we follow all the little parts of this exercise, it feels like the dented wheels in a machine, that everything is working so very nice, that everybody's like, the leader creates the space, you use it, and everything is rolling around. Okay, don't forget, when you're moving, if you create this disassociation, like I said so many times, when you're doing a molinete, if your chest remains with the leader and you allow your lower body and your core to work, it feels like you're only dancing from your waist down. That feeling of disassociation, that feeling of just dancing with your lower body, is created with practicing the molinete, stepping under your elbows. And once again, I'm going to remind you how we learn to do that. First, we did that in a line. I place my arm like this, and I'm going to use just my core to move my body. That gives you this feeling that I can move my hips to that direction and keep this part very well elongated, going, my shoulders are going to that direction. This is a very nice exercise that you can practice in order to understand how that hip has to go around. And I'm reminding you about this movement because that's exactly what is happening in the turning. Here, nothing happens, but here, look how it's like I'm looking behind me. And then pivot and then go. But they cannot happen all together. If they happen all together, I'm going to be looking a little bit like this. And as you can tell, it's very hard to hold your axis if you move everything together. If you try to do that, the leader is going to have a little bit of a difficulty in order to keep your balance straight. Because of that, he might lose his own balance because he is not planted in both feet. He is in this position. So if you're going to pivot, all your body is going to feel like, difficult for me to hold it. That is what the reason why I'm asking you to understand what you have to do. After the second step, I'm here. I have this is like a little pause, and then so first I go with my chest, and then I am not going to be able to hold it any longer, and you're going to feel like you're pivoting. Now, in order for that pivot to happen, after your second step, your heels don't go on the ground. We're spinning. Eventually, we're going to learn how to do this very quickly. However, I want you to try to keep your body on the ball of your foot most of the time. Okay, so in the transition, after this is the second step, try to hold, move, of course, because we're learning and you're all by yourself, you don't have that support. When you do it with a partner, it is going to feel 10 times better, and you're going to feel completely safe to be walking in just the ball of your feet. Okay? Now, anticipation. Of course, I had to talk about anticipation, right? And I know that it sounds nagging, and you know, it's very difficult for us leaders to understand what we have to do and also where we're going, and to manage the whole space thing that on a regular basis we don't do. We're just moving, and sometimes even if we have a wall in front of us, we're not going to realize it because we're trying to understand how first our body works, then how your body is working together with my body, and then on top of that I have to I realize that there's a wall in front of me. So the leaders have they are very busy trying to do all these things. In your case, you sort of have a little bit more of time, but I want you to enjoy that time. Use that time to help the leader don't break that connection. So although you might feel that the leader is going against the wall, or that you already know what is going to happen and you know your part perfectly and you want it to work with the music, you can't go before the lead. So if the leader is dancing in a pace that is nerve-wracking for you, just go with it. Bam, 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 bam. Actually, the more, the slower I make it, the more I understand what I have to do, and the more I have that time to think, okay, what part of my body I'm using. Let's do it once again and see. Look, pay attention to what I am doing with my legs. And I'm going in that lazy lead speed. Bam, 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 bam. I'm not really sure if you noticed, but I tried to be as obvious as I could. I was taking the side step, and right after that I was lifting my hip dramatically there. Why do I do that? In order to, we have practiced so many embellishments, so to give you the opportunity to use that time. If the leader is taking a longer time, you can do this. If in between the steps, which is not going to happen very often, but for now, because the leader is learning, he might take some time. So try to practice other things. That is helping him and is helping you to develop this ability, like, okay, I could wait here, but I rather wait here. I could wait here, but I rather do something while I'm waiting for the next step to happen. Okay? I want you to be patient, like I said before, with yourselves first, and then with the leader. I'm asking the leaders to be sensitive, to feel what you're doing. In the same way, I want you, ladies, to be sensitive and feel what they are feeling. It is not a difficult, I mean, it's very difficult to be a follower. It is very difficult to be a leader, okay? And the worst part for me, I would have to say, is that you both have to work together in order to communicate yourselves. So if there is not that communication, it's very difficult to have something done on the dance floor. So again, remember that this is like a conversation. Sometimes you express your ideas, you expose your opinion, and then you have to listen what the others have to say. Exactly the same. In tango, we're moving and the other person is moving. And sometimes, most of the time, I'm listening what the other person, I'm feeling what the other person is doing. If that happens, you're going to start feeling your movements different. You're going to start understanding. If I elongate, I help my dance partner to do something else. I make my body more comprehensible to him or her. the elongation is not something that only the ladies have to do, only the followers. Everybody needs to do a correct elongation of their body in order to dance correctly. So I hope this information helps you. I'm going to go over with the details of this step next week as well, when we're going to try to turn it into a circularity more than just one line. And it's going to be, of course, a lot of fun. Okay? Well, thank you so very much. This was the lesson today. If you have any questions, if you find something that it was not very clear during my explanation, or if you, sometimes I know myself, sometimes I make a lot of explanations, I compare things, and sometimes I confuse you because it feels like I veered from the topic that I was talking about. So I want you to, if you have any question, if I got you confused, please write a message, let me know what you think, what you didn't understand, or if you're curious about knowing something else about this lesson, please let me know. Feel free to come and ask me. And talking about coming, don't forget, after this lesson we have our virtual milonga, so come join me. Let's talk about tango, let's talk about this lesson, let's talk about previous lessons, let's talk about whatever you want tango related. The link is every week is published on our Facebook page, so if you need more information, please go visit our Facebook page. And also this week we have a very interesting episode in our podcast, The Tangling Tangos, with the participation of wonderful musicians like Osmar Maderna, Miguel Caló, and Raúl Verón. The story of this, the history of the lives of these people are very, very interesting and very, very passionate and full of love, music, and tragedy. So don't miss it. It's a very interesting episode. So that would be for this week. Don't forget, try to be safe, try to be cautious. We're in a good place to see each other again soon. But let's, once again, let's use precaution for now. Okay? I will see you next week. Have a good one.